here from ProPhysio Plus. Today I'd like to spend some time talking about work cover or WorkSafe, and it can be a complicated situation if you find yourself in it, but I do want to spend some time unpacking it so that everyday people understand what it is and how physio can help. Okay, so to begin with, I'd like to define what work cover or WorkSafe is, and the best way to do that is just to head over to their website directly, which is www.worksafe.vic.gov.au. Now, there's plenty of information there, but essentially WorkSafe is the group that are responsible in helping both employers and employees in terms of health and regulating the safety in the workplace. So there's three main groups in this WorkSafe situation. There's the WorkSafe body, there's the employers, and then there's the worker. So the first group that I just mentioned was WorkSafe, and they're sort of the umbrella that monitors how everything's going in terms of workplace health and safety. The second group are employers, so they're typically your bosses. So your boss has a responsibility to provide a workplace that's safe for employees to come in and work. Now, as part of that, they usually take out an insurance policy with an insurance provider, and that workers' compensation insurance protects the employers if, unfortunately, an employee, a worker, gets injured. So examples of big insurance companies are like Allianz, EML, Gallagher Bassett, and Exchanging here in Victoria. Okay, so the third group are the employees. Now, the expectation of the employee is to be working in a safe environment at their workplace. Now, if unfortunately you've had an accident at work, if you're in the office, you trip, you fall over and you break your wrist, or if you're on a work site in construction and you bend and lift something up and then you pull your back, the protocol, regardless of what sort of environment that you're in, is that you need to report the injury straight away to your immediate supervisor. Once you report it to your supervisor, I highly encourage that you document the injury so that it's on pen and paper. On this day, say the 26th of July 2018, I had a fall at work. This is the situation. I tripped on this little bit of a lip in the carpet, and I had this pain in my wrist, and then I had to go off and see the doctor. So if you document it, that way it's something that you can go back at a future date and say that this is actually the situation that occurred. Now, the challenge is that a lot of people in my experience who are employees, who are workers in a business that have had an accident at work, they get confused in this part of the process. So they've had an accident at work, they've reported it to the workplace, and then it's like someone's pressed pause and nothing happens. It's at this critical stage that I'd recommend that you go and see your ProPhysio Plus physio. Now, the reason is we can really come in and assist in getting you back to full health, and I'll lay out how we can do that for you now. Now, typically, when you present as a work cover patient at ProPhysio Plus, we will work together on that first session in getting all the information from you. So I'll get the date of when you injured yourself, who your immediate supervisor is, where the workplace, the address, who the insurance company is. If you have all those details to the best of your knowledge, I will call your workplace on your behalf, and I will discuss with the workplace what the situation is. I will call the insurance company that they have a policy with and clarify the situation, so that way it makes things a lot easier for you and we can just focus on the injury. Now, after you document your incident report, it doesn't automatically become a work cover claim. What happens usually is there's this thing called an employer excess. Now this employer excess is the amount that the employer needs to pay first in order for the insurance company to then take over on any ongoing payments. So the way I like to explain this to people is, if you have car insurance and you have a certain policy, usually there's an excess that you need to pay before your car insurance comes in and looks after everything. So for example, you might have to pay $500 out of pocket to fix your windscreen or something, and then the insurance company can come and fix the panels and anything else that's wrong with your car. This is the same situation with the employer's excess. So they have up to about $600 that needs to be paid for first, the employer excess, and then from that point on, whoever their insurance company is, take over ongoing payments. So in this situation, if you've sustained an injury at work and you've filed your incident report and you've gone to see your doctor, for example, and your doctor has given you a script for some tablets, or you've paid out of pocket to get some scans, or you've paid out of pocket to see a physio a couple of times, all those payments that you've made are completely reimbursable from your employer, because then your employer will use those amounts that you've spent as part of their excess, which is around about $600. And that way, once they've reached that $600, any ongoing management like physio treatments, if you have further scans, if it's quite a serious injury and you need to see a specialist, all those costs can be sent directly to the insurance company, whoever your employer has taken on as their insurance company. Okay, so let me try and summarize the whole work cover process from beginning to end. There's a couple of things that I want to describe and take my time in the summary, just so that it makes a bit of sense. So, number one, I would firstly report the injury. Number two, I would then document the injury in an incident report, however way the company does that. Number three, I would then call by and see my local doctor and start some management in getting on top of my injury. It may be getting some medications to help with pain, maybe if it's serious enough, going to get some scans, and then you would also need a referral from your treating doctor to see your physiotherapist. Number four, when you come by to see the physio, here at ProPhysio Plus, we will make contact with your workplace and your workplace's insurance company and introduce ourselves and start to process actually what happened and get approval to send our physio invoices directly to the workplace. Why? Because it goes towards the employer excess. That number is around $600, $700, and that way there's no out-of-pocket cost to you, the injured worker. So that's why we put a lot of emphasis here at ProPhysio Plus to make things easier for you, because work cover is so complicated, but we see it all the time here. So if you come across to us with your doctor's referral, as much information like the date of injury, how you did it, where the workplace is, the insurance company if you know about it, and then we'll do the rest. And once all that paperwork is pushed to the side, it's all done, we'll focus on why you're primarily here, which is to get you back into full health and back to how you normally are.